Following up a little bit with the idea, Mr. Barone, of how immigration affects politics, what would the legalization of current illegal immigrants do in states like Texas, which has the second largest concentration of Mexican illegal immigrants, and on the other hand, is a hub for the Tea Party movement, which is largely against immigration? And what would that do for the politicians in the area?
Well, they're against legalization of illegals, I think it's fair to say, although it's not their prime issue. The Tea Parties, they tend to be more against government spending and so forth. But we had an experiment with legalization following the 1986 immigration law. About half of those eligible took advantage of citizenship provisions, or those thought to be eligible. So I wouldn't anticipate that if we passed a legalization provision, all 11 million would become citizens, and they wouldn't become citizens immediately under versions of the law that have mostly been talked about. If you look at the political preferences of, quote, Hispanics, that's a term, by the way, that the Census Bureau made up in 1970 to include a wide variety of people. I'm not sure whether or not it included, when he was staying in the United States, Crown Prince Felipe of Spain, who is a descendant of King Louis XIV and the Emperor Charles V. But they vary in political attitudes depending on which part of the country they're in, where they're voting, and perhaps where they came from. In Latin America, you have different political traditions, different political proclivities from people that come from different places. So basically, my anticipation is that if you look at Hispanics today in California and New York, they vote very heavily Democratic. In Florida, they have generally, though not always, given slight majorities to the Republican Party. In Texas, they have been Democratic, but not by anything like as large a margins as in Florida, or as in California or New York. They have been giving, Governor Rick Perry, for example, the current governor of Texas, generally labeled a conservative and a Republican, got 38% of Hispanic votes in 2010. Which was enough for him to win easily because the non-Hispanic whites were voting for him about 75%. So, some Democrats hope to change the political balance in Texas. I think that that's perhaps uphill. Most voters in Texas feel that their formula of low taxes, business-friendly government regulation has resulted in economic growth, and certainly Texas has been a leader in economic growth within the United States. And it's been one of the states and one of the few states that's been attracting large numbers of both people from within the United States moving in and immigrants from outside the United States, and not just from Latin America. Texas has been attracting people from Asia as well in significant numbers.